tomatoes thrown at him all across Twitter for a clip that's going viral of him having an embarrassing and horrible response to one of his community members answering a question that he asked them.
In Spanish, and it's chef's kiss. All right. Curvy, where the fuck have you been? Oh my God. Well, tell you what, Miss Dirty Curvy, you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to talk about it in my chat because it's Friday, and that is a whole big bucket of bummer.
And his response is a big barrel of butt cheeks. So to give context to this situation here on the lore, this was a regular viewer of this streamer, an avid supporter who had taken a bit of a hiatus and was unfortunately going through a very hard time with her mother passing. So when he saw that she was back, he asked her, "Oh, where have you been?" To which she just answered honestly, her mother had passed away, so, you know, it was a bit of a tough time. That's why she was taking a break. And then for some reason, this must have input a cheat code into the streamer's brain that just sent him into, like, debate club. He, for some reason, then just goes into, like, this TED Talk about how you shouldn't answer his question if your answer is something sad, because it brings down the vibes of the stream. It's baffling, because you had asked her, and she just answered your question honestly. I'll play a bit more of the clip before getting into it, but I want to make it clear early on that I understand a lot of streamers have a similar perspective where you don't really want someone in chat that's just talking about like a really traumatic experience they're going through, because it's not really the place for it and the streamer's not the therapist. Like, I do get that perspective, but there's a difference between like just a random person treating Twitch chat like it's their psychiatrist and you asking someone a question and them answering honestly, especially when it's a member of the community that you already kind of know to a certain level. I don't understand why you're all of a sudden getting mad at them for answering that.
And I'm sorry for your loss, but we're not doing that in my fucking chat. Thank you. Well, okay, Miss Dirty Curvy, you said, no, that's fine. You asked, so I told. No, I didn't ask you to tell me the biggest fucking bummer news in the world. I said, hey, what's up? How are you? You know what? Let me give you a little bit of a lesson, Miss Nerdy Curvy. When something really, really bad is going on in your life, and in a public forum, someone asks you, hey, what's up? How are you? There are two acceptable responses. Good, and you know what? I'll make it through. That's it.
So you want to just talk to NPCs that only have two dialogue options. Okay? Then why bother trying to communicate with a human being? Like, okay, give them a script. Make sure your community has the acceptable answer script to my stupid questions. I don't actually care where you've been. And, like, just tell me one of these two canned responses. Like, this is so fucking dumb. And I also love the audacity. Let me give you a lesson here on how to handle my questions going forward. It's just so laughable that he's acting like some kind of social savant here about how to handle public conversations and what you're allowed to say. You're a fucking Twitch streamer, man. All of us as streamers are not exactly the most socially gifted. Like, let's just face the facts here. So why are you trying to act like the authority on the matter here, as if you're some kind of social guru who's now giving a lecture to your community about what is and is not allowed in a public conversation? It's fucking goofy. It's very silly.
How are you? Good? Or, you know what? I'll make it through. Awesome. Love to hear it. See, there you go. Or Prom's response. Yeah, I said, Prom, how are you doing? She says, I'm alive.
You know what's just as easy as those two responses is you being able to respond with some level of empathy like, oh man, that's terrible, I'm sorry to hear that. Or, damn, that's awful news, stay strong. Or, man, shit, that's terrible, hopefully today's stream can lift your spirits a bit. Like, you also have equally easy responses to, like, instead of dwell on the negative here and for some reason try and shame her for answering your question honestly, you could have just as easily had a very simple and empathetic response to it and moved on from it. But instead, now you're putting all of it on her and blaming her for bringing down the entire atmosphere, as if she somehow forced you to enter your goofo mode here, your insano style tantrum that you're throwing. Like, it is your fault. You could have either not asked the question if you didn't want, like, real answers, or you could have had some level of empathy and just given, like, a general, decent response like, damn, awful news, sorry to hear that, stay strong. And then just go about, like, a good vibe stream. Like, it's super easy.
Oh, I asked you where you were. Look, Mr. Curvy, I'm just subtly trying to tell you that unloading really heavy news in people's chats on Twitch is not like good etiquette. It's just, it's not the place to do it. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Heavy news like that, when someone asks, hey, where have you been? You don't need to tell them, well, my dog died, my husband left me for a younger woman, my house burnt down, and my car got stolen. So I've been a little bit busy. That's why I haven't been around. Because it's like, oh, God, like, ugh.
Oh, God, your bad news is making my easy job just a little stressful, because now I've heard your fucking bad news, like, ugh. Like, can you have some level of shame? Can you stop having bad things happen to you and then share it with me when I ask? Like, fuck. God, where do you get off? What a stupid perspective, bro. What are you talking about? That's not even what they did. You asked them a question and they gave a simple response to it. Now, for a little further context, she, in her first response, accidentally led with, like, a laughing emotion. So she led with, like, LMAO because she was responding to, like, a joke he had told and then answered his question about her mom passing away. She got a little concerned that it was going to be misconstrued like she was joking about that. So then she clarified again that, no, like, it's just been a rough time. It's just been horrible. So she said it, like, twice or 3 times in total, but it was never to dwell on it or try and treat him like a therapist or treat chat like it was a self-help subreddit or something. She just answered his question but didn't like her first answer because she thought it might get misconstrued, so then just said, like, no, it's just been bad, and that's where it was. She didn't try and, like, keep pressing it further or anything. For some reason, he did. He took it and ran with it and made it an overwhelmingly negative thing and then shamed her publicly in front of the entire community for it, which is so fucking weird and terrible thing to do. Now, like I said in the very beginning, I do understand the perspective of not wanting your community to treat it like it's like a therapy session where they're dropping really heavy things going on in their personal lives into the Twitch chat or asking you to solve the problems for them. I do agree that that is just not the time nor the place, and that's not going to help the person either. That's not going to help them or anyone else around you that needs, like, professional help and someone to actually be there and qualified to give real helpful advice to that person that's struggling. And Twitch chat is the last place you'd want to go for anything real. So I do agree, like, that is never a good case, like, that's never a good situation to be in, but that's not the situation this streamer was in. He had asked a community member that he knew a question, and it was a personal question. Where have you been? Now I'm waiting for your answer. And they explained, well, it's just been a bad time because her mom had passed away. And that's it. She didn't, like, keep going forward about it, like, to try and, like, make it all about what she's going through. She just answered his question point blank. And for some reason, he went off the rails about it.
Like, you know, like, if someone asks, like, hey, what's up? Where have you been? And it's heavy, just be like, I had a bunch of shit going on, so I've been lying low for a little while. Got it. That's it. I'm not trying to rip you a new ass.
Yeah, not trying to rip you a new ass, just trying to embarrass you in front of the entire stream. The lack of self-awareness here. Buddy, that is kind of exactly what she did, but instead of just saying, I've got some shit that I'm going through, so I was lying low, she said, well, family member passed away, so I was lying low. That's it. She didn't continue to, like, go through the nitty-gritty on everything that happened. She did almost exactly what you said, but was a little more specific on exactly what that shit was. But in essence, it's the same thing. Would you have still melted down if she had said, I had a lot of bad, horrible things happen, so I was laying low for a bit? I don't think so. You probably would have just given a normal, like, decent human response like, man, sorry to hear that. Hope that shit clears up soon. Why couldn't you have had that same level-headed, rational response to her just being a bit more specific with what that horrible thing she was going through was? She didn't just dump everything on you and expect you to you know, like, coddle her or do something special. Like, she just answered your question. So this is where the viral clip ends, but he did have a response to this, and it's really worse than you're probably imagining. But before getting to his response, I want to hit you with a bucket of cold water to shock you with some statistics here. 93% of all Twitch streamers pull less than 5 viewers, so anything more than 5 immediately puts you in the top 6.7% of the site. These are old numbers too. These are from 2021, so I imagine this is only grown. So why am I bringing this up? Well, because the streamer who right now is catching more tomatoes than the goddamn Heinz ketchup factory is not a huge streamer. At least not by most people on Twitter's definition of a big streamer. He has around 55 average viewers, and to put that in perspective, that does put him in the top 1% of Twitch, at least based on the numbers I'm seeing. Because again, the vast majority of streamers are streaming to actually 0 people. Crickets. You have better luck getting your old high school classmates to watch your Facebook live stream than you do getting found on Twitch and starting a community from nothing. So everyone that's just writing him off as a nobody and fuck small streamers, who cares what they are saying or what their opinion is, I hate that perspective and I will always hate that perspective. The mentality around numbers is so like fucked up these days that they can't recognize how big of a number 55 average viewers is. Like, yes, it's not the biggest streamers on Twitch, but that's still a pretty large number when put in perspective with how big the market is and how saturated it is. But this ties into the bigger point I want to make on the back of those numbers. The market being as saturated as it is, carving out a community being as tough as it is, the last thing you want to do is fuck it up, which is exactly what this guy has just done. He's currently streaming right now with like 140 viewers, which is more than he normally averages, but I imagine the majority of this is hate watchers hoping to just shit on him in the chat. And I've already seen it from a couple of his subs. Some people were saying how disappointed they were in him. And that's a really big deal because when you have a really tight-knit community, once the viewers start feeling like you don't actually give a fuck about them at all, or that you're kind of a piece of shit, they probably won't stick around because there's so many other streamers that they'll just go to. So this will potentially end up being a huge problem for him. His first response was this on Twitter, where he's just taking full responsibility for being an asshole, which I guess is fine. Like, he's just saying, yeah, I just was a real piece of shit here. But then 12 hours later, he made an apology video and doubled down on everything from his initial Twitter clip.
Firstly, it is well known in my channel that I do not tolerate heavy news, drama, or trauma dumping, if you will, being entered or dropped into the chat. This has been discussed and explained and made clear many times while I've been live over the last 4+ years that I've been on Twitch. The people that come to my channel often, they know this. They see it all the time. So that's something that I want to make sure everyone understands.
He directly blames her for violating his terms of service for being a chatter, basically, saying, I have very strict rules, you're not allowed to kill vibes with bad news or anything drama-related or heavy. Okay, then don't ask questions that could potentially lead to, like, someone being honest with you, man. Not everything in the world is going to be sunshine and rainbows. So why ask a question to your viewers that they might just be open about if you don't want to actually hear it? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, and why are you blaming her? You're fucking blaming the victim here in this situation. What a terrible look. When you had already in your previous tweet sang a very different tune, where you're like, yeah, this one's kind of on me, I was a douchebag. What changed? All of a sudden now, you woke up this morning and you feel like you're not a douchebag, you're a superhero. In fact, she's the villain because she didn't follow your strict chat rules.
This is not the first time that she's violated the expectation that people not share heavy news in my channel. The frustration from having her argue in chat that she was, quote, just answering my question, even though she's been spoken to about this type of thing before.
Calling this an apology is a disservice to apologies. He is literally just justifying his reaction and saying it's all her fault. She violated our expectation of her in chat and then said she has a history of doing it. And in her statement, one of her twitlongers, she clarifies a bit deeper on what he's talking about. And he's pretty misleading with the way he portrays what happened here. Again, you asked her a question, she answered it. So the quote, I was just answering your question, is very accurate because that is all she was doing, man.
Frowned upon. Dude, I'm getting follows right now. From Joe JCKS. Bro Chacho, welcome to the channel, dude. Thanks for the follow. Yeah.
He even acknowledges that maybe he should edit that out and then decides not to. You should have edited that out. That's what a big yikes moment there. In your fucking apology, not an apology, in your blaming, pointing the finger video, you get a follower, take a moment to say thanks for the follow and like just call out the follower during this? What a bad look. How could you not recognize that as a potential problem? But regardless, the actual video he has made here is not a good response. It is somehow even worse than the initial one with the doubling down and trying to justify it. Like, just have an obvious common sense level-headed response like, yep, I overreacted. This was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. I don't even know what I was thinking. I must have just been in a bad mood. Like it was just so easy to move on from this. But instead, you doubled down, and now you look real silly for it. Right, if 2023 didn't conclude with at least one more horrible YouTuber apology video, and luckily, Krampus did not let us down, delivering a nice lump of coal under the tree. This had been a year filled to the brim. The cup runneth over on bad YouTuber apology videos. I was a naive fool to think that we had seen the last of apology videos for 2023, and how wrong was I? In the fourth quarter here, the last week or so of 2023, we were blessed with one more from James Somerton. He was featured prominently in H-Bomber Guy's newest video on plagiarism. I'm sure all of you have seen this video by now. If you haven't, that is shocking to hear and should probably go check it out. And I'm not going to recap the whole video, but I will give you a brief synopsis of James Somerton's role in it. But basically, James Somerton was pretty much caught with his hand in the cookie jar, plagiarizing his entire online content, fundamentally. It also goes even deeper than the plagiarism. He was accused of multiple other bad things in regards to his content and claims he was making, and a bunch of other variety of things. And in response to that, James went dark. He went off the grid, bought a log cabin in the middle of the woods, grew out a lumberjack's beard. He bought a Hoover from, Breaking Bad, and he disappeared. So he went offline, and then a couple days ago posted a surprise apology video going over all of it, which he deleted a couple hours later when it didn't get the response he was expecting it to. But it's been re-uploaded, and I kind of wanted to cover it a little bit just because it feels right. 2023 had so many of these. We've got to usher in 2024 the right way with an apology video to kick us off getting into the new year. So let's take a peek.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry for taking so long to make this video or to say anything. I'm in the hospital. I've been in the hospital for a little over a week.
Call me John Madden because I'm going to walk you through the play in this playbook here. It's called Emotional Manipulation. It's a timeless classic. There is no reason he should be starting this video with this story here. He uses this technique multiple times throughout the video and doesn't really even address the accusations head on. It's mainly a lot of deflection. But what I want to focus on is just how hard he leans on trying to garner sympathy through this. Now, it's always sad to see someone struggling and going through a hard time and contemplating extremely terrible things with their life. But it's not something that you need to be sharing online in this capacity. And it's also not something most people would be comfortable sharing online, especially in response to things like this, because it comes across as very insincere and disingenuous and kind of like using it as though it makes you immune to criticism because now you've gone through this, if that makes sense. And that's pretty much what his whole audience said too. Even the ones that were trying to rally behind him, hoping for a real explanation, this left a very bad taste in their mouth because it's completely unrelated to what should be being talked about, which is his plagiarism as well as the other things he's been accused of. He doesn't need to be sharing this information with us. This is a very private matter that he should have kept private.
I tried to do something really stupid. I'm really only here now because before I did it, I called my dad to talk to him one more time, and he figured out something was wrong and called paramedics or 911 or...
Once again, there is no reason to be telling this extremely personal story to your audience when this is supposed to be a video addressing all of the accusations against your content. It's just the only reason this is here is so that way people can sympathize with him and feel sorry for what he's been going through. And make no mistake, from what he describes here, it's an extremely horrible experience that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. But it has no place in this video. It just comes across as super fucking tone deaf here. Just talk about, if you want to make an apology video or explain your side of things, then do that. and don't go into the private side of what's been happening behind the scenes since the accusations came out.
They got here, and I woke up in the hospital, and yeah, anyway, I'm not trying to make this a sob story. I'm just trying to explain why I've been so quiet.
You spent the entire first minute and a half making it a sob story, though. That's not an accident, and you could have edited that out. It's here because you wanted it to be here, to start with immediately trying to get the waterworks going with people crying over how awful this experience is before you get into what's supposed to be your side and your apology over everything. It's just textbook emotional manipulation trying to make everyone feel bad for you, even though you were the guilty party who got caught, and this is you trying to talk about that, and you still haven't yet, even though we're already kind of deep into the video. Now, it is a 34-minute video, so a minute and a half isn't like the bulk of it, but he sprinkles this throughout the entire thing, so you can't really make a good argument that it's only here to try and explain why he took so long to make this video. You don't need to explain why you took so long. You really don't. If you really wanted to give an explanation, you could just make it super concise, like, hey, had stuff going on. Or this has been an extremely stressful period of time in my life from all of this, so I've taken some time to process everything, and now I feel comfortable going forward. Like, you didn't need to dive into it like this, and you didn't even need to explain why it took you that long in the first place. And on top of that, he does also still go over these really sad things in his life throughout the whole thing that aren't just there to explain why it took him so long to talk about all of this. So it really does feel like he's trying to emotionally manipulate people with his apology video. But even when he is done going through this story and actually trying to talk about what's been going on, he takes really no responsibility. He does say, "I'm sorry," a lot, but it feels kind of hollow when he starts throwing somebody else under the bus for things and then kind of belittling the whole situation itself, boiling it down to something far simpler than it is. Like, there were a lot of accusations against him, none of which he really defends himself on in any meaningful way whatsoever. It really feels like the main purpose of the video is to make the audience feel bad. Like, make them, like, blame them, basically, for what he's going through, as opposed to taking that responsibility for fucking up with plagiarizing his whole career.
Really, really sorry. Really, really sorry. For this stuff in the videos, not crediting people, and I lost my best friend because of this. Nick and I had been best friends since...
I don't think I really need to show you more of the video itself. You get the idea of exactly how this goes for the rest of the 30 minutes of it. It's just a really baffling decision to post this in the first place, and it's something he recognized pretty quickly when he saw the responses coming in, the Yelp reviews. So here's his community post addressing it. Earlier tonight, I uploaded a video apologizing for what I've done, but it's become clear after hearing from several people that I'm not in a healthy frame of mind to be posting anything online. I only returned home from the hospital yesterday, so I should have never filmed it. I've deleted the video, but I'm sure it has been downloaded and will be shared by others online. I promise to apologize properly and in detail when I'm more mentally stable. Until then, please know that I am sorry. He understands that this wasn't a good idea, but insists that he is sorry and will return at a later date to make a better apology video. And I have to say, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Like, I don't understand why he's even going to bother trying. There is really nothing that's going to improve for his online career through an apology. His audience isn't going to stick around through it. They were there for his content, and his content was stolen. It was all plagiarized. Like, there's no reason for them to stay, and it's not something he can just move on for and keep pumping out bangers, because no one's going to believe that it's original work or anything that he himself created. So there's nothing he can possibly gain from even making an apology. He should just do something else that's not being a YouTuber, or find a completely different niche on YouTube to try and make it big in. Like, there's there's just nothing he can really do for the James Somerton brand here. So I don't know why he's going to try and make another apology video later. It just seems kind of silly to even bother. He doesn't have anything that proves him innocent from the claims. He really was kind of, caught pants around the ankle here. It's kind of kaput. Like, it is clear he plagiarized a lot of things, and there's a lot of other accusations on top of that as well from the way he conducted himself and some of the content, like in some of the things he said. And there's really not a whole lot he can do to come back from that and make this big triumphant comeback with an absolute fucking banger apology. That's just not going to happen. So why even do it? Just go do something else, man. Just move on from it. So yeah, I just wanted to cover this a little bit just because it's one more bad apology in 2023. I figured might as well complete the year the only way we know how, with bad YouTuber apologies. Yeehaw. That's awful YouTuber apology videos, but today I've got something truly special to show you. This is the magnum opus of saying I'm sorry. It doesn't come from a YouTuber either. This comes from a basketball player, and he completely redefined the apology video meta. He made an entire apology documentary. I'm talking about Draymond Green. Now, I don't know how many of you are some red-blooded American, brewski boofing, patriotic sports fans, but I'm going to break down the situation for those of you that aren't and don't know what I'm referring to. Draymond Green is a professional basketball player, plays for the Warriors, and recently he was filmed in practice punching his teammate after an argument. I can't show the video because YouTube will probably age restrict it for shocking and disturbing content, which it's not. So I'll just paint the picture with words here. So Draymond Green and Jordan Poole are at practice, and then some words get exchanged between the two. I can't read their lips, and the quality looks like it's straight out of 2001 off of a goddamn Motorola Razr, so the quality's fucking abysmal. Don't know what they said to each other, but they were some not nice words being exchanged. Perhaps Jordan Poole hit him with a SpongeBob reference that he didn't appreciate, something like, "Hey pal, you just blow in from Stupid Town." Then Draymond Green gets up in his face. Jordan Poole pushes him off, and in response to that, Draymond Green fucking cranks a mean one and lets a go-go gadget extendo knuckle sandwich fly, absolutely blasting Jordan Poole. I don't think it was a full-blown knockout, but Jordan Poole did hit the ground hard. Like, he went down harder than the UPS delivery driver throwing my packages at the door. But this is where this fight started and stopped. The team separated the two of them, and the video was leaked to TMZ, and this became a huge deal in the entire sports world. Afterwards, Draymond Green did issue an apology publicly, saying he was sorry for the whole situation and how embarrassed he was by it. But clearly he wasn't embarrassed enough because he decided to shamelessly make a documentary about this whole situation as well. The man made a full-blown, goddamn Michael Moore-style documentary on his punch of his teammate. It's so weird and goofy. I'm going to show that to you now, at least bits and pieces of it, but I also want to let you all know, if you're not familiar with Draymond Green, the guy has a reputation for being a bit of a douchebag. If you just type in Draymond Green hitting players in the nuts, you can watch full compilations of how many times he's kicked other basketball players in their ball sack. He's made a habit out of it. There's one player in particular, Steven Adams. I believe he's kicked him in his fucking jewels 3 times. 2 times in one game, if I remember correctly. So he's got a reputation for being a bit of a dirty player and a bit of an asshole. So this was just a nice cherry on top of that already pretty bad reputation.
On October 5th, Draymond Green and teammate Jordan Poole got into a verbal altercation during practice. The incident ended with Draymond punching Poole in the face.
Yeah, they pulled out all the stops for this one, all the bells and whistles. They got a professional voiceover here, making it sound very official, professional. And you would think most people in general would want to move on from a controversy like this. Just, apologize, put your head down and ignore it, so that way it will hopefully go away faster. But for some reason, Draymond and the whole team that put this piece together really like to roll around in the drama of this, making it a spectacle. I don't know what they thought was a good idea about this, making a documentary to explain the punch. It's totally unnecessary. I think everyone understands what happened here. Draymond got upset and punched his teammate. It's very simple. It's like the simplest story ever told. Yet they're making it seem like a very complex issue with very many moving parts to it that we don't fully grasp, thus need a documentary to explain it to our little idiot brains here. It makes no sense to me. They're just here trying to squeeze as much milk from this controversy as possible, just grabbing it by the tit to get as much juice from the squeeze as they can.
I think you're initially upset, pissed off, which is why you have the reaction you have.
You don't say. The reason you punch people is because you're upset and pissed off? Fucking truly groundbreaking revelations here. My third eye is open. My mind is being expanded. Just please slow down here, Socrates. We're tackling some very profound and deep things now. You're telling me there's a correlation between being upset and punching someone? No, what?
Part of the process of why did this happen? And walking yourself through why. The different things that can get you to why what took place actually took place.
It's not that deep. I wasn't even there and I could tell you why this happened. Because he hurt your feelings and you lashed out, you had a little temper tantrum and punched him. It's not a confusing situation that needs like a deep explanation. The only question I'd be asking is, why didn't you aim for his nutsack like you normally do?
Now that you process what just happened, now you've processed the why. Now how do you feel and what do you feel about it?
What in the fuck are you even saying? Jesus Christ, you punched your teammate. That's it. I don't think after the punch you immediately went into a sensory deprivation tank to meditate on it and really dig deep into the weeds and figure out, well, why did this happen and how am I feeling about it? Like, did you go immediately and see a psychiatrist or something? Like, what are you going on about here? Jesus. Imagine Jordan Poole. You get punched and the guy who punched you makes a documentary about it. You already know Jordan Poole and the rest of the team are laughing at Draymond Green for this one. And rightfully so. The man is the protagonist of premium cringe right now.
So you get at a time, you give it some time to allow people to throw their opinion out, which quite frankly, I don't care about people's opinion.
Yeah, this really seems like someone who doesn't care about people's opinion. He cares so little about your opinion that he made an entire documentary whining about the situation. That's how little of a fuck he gives about what you think about him. Now, please, shed some tears for this forgiveness documentary he's made.
I don't spend much time, I don't really read many tweets at all. And so I was just at home chilling with my children. If you want me to be honest with you, I still don't know how much the world may think it blew up.
Sparked by the leak of the video, the incident did blow up.
The classic, oh, I wasn't even paying attention. I didn't think it was a big deal. I was at home with my family being a loving father, and in fact, I'm one of the best fathers on the planet. I'm not a bad guy. In fact, I was just so preoccupied being the best dad of all time that I didn't even stop to notice that people were upset at me for a video that was taken or something. I don't even know if it was a big deal at all.
I apologized to his family. For me, that is the task at hand, to rebuild trust in our locker room. I felt as a man, I felt as a leader, that I would do everything that I can to make this right.
That's a clip from his public apology when this first started blowing up, and I actually thought it was fine. He said, I'm sorry to Jordan, his family, his team, and then explained how he's going to try and make things right and make things better and get trust back in the locker room. And then a week later, he makes this absolutely insane documentary about the punch. So clearly something went awry there. The first response he had, I think, was okay. He's just like, you know what, I fucked up. It is what it is, and I'm sorry. And now he goes full Hollywood here, sniffing his own farts, and makes a documentary surrounding this punch.
It's on me to make sure we're headed that way. Time clarity, you know what it is, I know what it is. Continue to move forward, put it behind us. It helps. Allows you to start the process. And get back to business. That's where I go from here. That's where we go from here.
Gotta love how this video is supposed to be like an explanation for why it happened and a little documentary surrounding it, but it doesn't even do that. It doesn't do the bare minimum. He just says well, why did it happen? And it's the process of understanding why it happened, but never even says why it happened. He never even explains why he did it. I mean, everyone knows why he punched him, we all get it, but this whole documentary was built around the idea of, well, here's his chance to defend himself and give his side of, what happened here and how regretful he is. But it doesn't even do that. But you want to know the best part of this documentary? It says nothing. It doesn't even make a point. It's just hey, here's Draymond Green, he punched this guy. And here's him moderately reflecting on it. And then he goes back to practice and he says it's time to get back to work and he hopes he could lead the team better now. That's it. That's the whole documentary. Like it has no purpose whatsoever. It's mind-blowing that this got made, but regardless, that's pretty much where the documentary ends. It's very silly, and I just wanted to talk about it because I think it's a wild set of circumstances here. Making a documentary about your outburst punching your teammate is such a bold move. And 5 has issued an apology for the cupcake incident from 2 years ago. Not exactly the quickest response time, but it's a little bit faster than Valve responding to Team Fortress 2 issues. So I probably don't even need to give you the lore dump here. The story of EDP445's fall from grace is a more well-known story than Little Red Riding Hood by this point. But just in case, 2 years ago he was caught in a child predator sting operation, which also unearthed a lot of other repeated instances of him being inappropriate with minors in his community. For this, he lost his entire career, and since then he has desperately been trying to claw his way back to the internet because it's all he knows. It's his only home, so he pathetically comes back like every couple of months for the last 2 years, like clockwork, with a new pitiful attempt at reviving his internet career. There's only a few certainties in life: death, taxes, and EDP coming back when no one wants him to. He's posted videos on every platform that allows video sharing capability. I wouldn't have been surprised if he tried to make a career out of streaming on Xbox 360 Arcade Uno, where they used to let you use the Xbox fucking Connect or whatever in order to like have a webcam chat in Uno servers. Wouldn't have been surprised if he tried that. He has gone to every platform ever and has been banned from all of them. Because what EDP did is unforgivable. This is not something you can ever come back from. He should be counting his lucky stars he's not in jail. He must have had fairy godparents and they granted him one last wish and it was to avoid jail time. The only reason he's not there is because the investigation and all of the evidence was conducted online, so authorities usually don't use that in like actual prosecution or anything. So he must have collected all the fucking Dragon Balls and made a wish, and Shinron kept him out of jail. Because the amount of proof and evidence of not only the cupcake incident, obviously, where he actually went in person to meet a child for sex, not only just that, but like a repeated history of having similar circumstances with being inappropriate with kids, all of this very well documented. The fact that all of that exists and he's not in jail is beyond a miracle for EDP. And now he is once again doing his standard song and dance, trying to get back his internet career and find redemption. He's made a couple other videos in the past addressing it loosely, like where he's like eating a cupcake, so literally leaning into being a pedophile, I guess, and acknowledging it. And then only a handful of months ago, he made a statement on his website that was perhaps one of the wildest ideas ever cooked up by a human brain. He said that the whole cupcake incident, that whole scenario, was actually all acting. He was hired for an acting job to play a pedophile, and he committed to the role, and he had no idea it was going to be used as like a legitimate thing. He thought it was all just a Shakespearean play, basically, just part of, you know, the acting craft. But this is the first video he's made where he's apologizing and talking about it, like actually talking about it. And I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, wow, finally, he's taking accountability. He's starting to, you know, grow now, and you know, maybe he can move on from this. What a bunch of hooey. That is a load of fish paste. He doesn't, in his entire 8.5-minute apology video, he doesn't once refer to what actually happened. When he's talking about being caught in a child predator sting operation, he calls it that YouTube shit.
I want to take full responsibility for my actions that happened on April 21st, 2021. The entire YouTube shit that went down, the entire YouTube incident, you know what I mean, that went the fuck down. I'm not even going to get into it. You guys already know what the fuck happened. I'm taking full responsibility, full accountability for my actions.
He doesn't even say what he did and what he like is guilty of. He just loosely refers to it vaguely and brushes it off quickly. That is the opposite of taking accountability. He doesn't even fucking address it directly. Now, he states one of the reasons for the tardiness behind this apology is because he's been in talks with lawyers over the last couple of years about what he can and cannot say. And I'm just going to slap down the Phoenix Wright objection. I'm calling baloney, because if he did have a team of lawyers behind him after all these years, I'm assuming they would have advised him to not make any of the statements he's made over the last couple of years, especially the one where he faked emails to try and confirm that all of this was actually just an acting moment. It was all just a ruse. It was supposed to be a movie, not real. It's all fake. Or the other statement he made about how it never happened in the first place and just outright denying it. I feel like if there were lawyers behind him for the last couple of years, they would have told him, do not do that. But let's play ball with that idea for a second. Let's assume he's being truthful. If the lawyers have told him to not mention any of the specifics of the incident, then you can't come on this video and pretend like you're taking accountability or responsibility. If you're not willing to actually tackle what happened and what you are guilty of and actually talk about it directly, then you can't pretend that you're somehow taking accountability or responsibility in the situation. I didn't want to talk about this apology video because I don't think there's any value here. I've already made a few videos talking about EDP over the last 2 years with every attempt he's made to try and come back to the internet. And this is just another one of those, a desperate Hail Mary to try and monetize an internet career again because it is all he has. It is the only home that he knows. So he keeps trying. But this is just not something that you can come back from.
Taken the proper measures and the proper steps forward to seek out help, to try to, get my head on right and to make sure that, in the distant future that I do not hurt, my loving, caring, supporting friends and family, because they're the ones that hurt the most. They are the ones that suffered the most.
No, they're not. The actual victims are. What do you mean? Yes, of course, they did get caught in the crossfire here from everything you did online, but you should really be apologizing far more to the actual victims. Not just the cupcake incident, but the actual children that you've been inappropriate with over all the years. He mentions that he's getting help to try and, not be a danger to children anymore, which is good, taking those steps, but even if they do cure the pedophile, it doesn't mean that you can come back as some kind of content creator again. You cannot have an internet career again after what you've done. Period. Full stop. There is no coming back from that. I do find it very upsetting that when he does make these attempts at comebacks, he does usually find an audience of delusional weirdos that downplay the severity of what he's done in his past. I'm talking about how pedophilia is not even a big deal and there wasn't any real victims, which is categorically false. He may not have actually met a child during the cupcake incident. It was all a sting operation, but there were very real victims to EDP that most people seem to forget. Actual children he was being inappropriate with. There are victims. It's not just that one time with the sting operation, the fucking Chris Hansen have a seat to catch a predator moment for EDP. There was many more. It's just not something you move on from. Now, he does mention at the very beginning of the video that he's come close to, hurting himself and ending it all over the last couple of years as a result of everything that happened with this whole situation. And he mentions that he's extremely remorseful for all of it and recognizes that it's all his fault. And he also mentions that his family has been harassed a lot from all of this. And overall, yeah, it's sad to hear that, but again, it is all your fault. You can't come back to the internet after all of this. You are a danger to children. You preyed on kids in your audience. You can't come back online from that. You should have been in jail, but got extremely lucky to avoid that. So you should have been satisfied with just being able to stay out of jail and completely cut ties with the internet. Buckle down in the real world and just do something else and never come back online. Now, I understand over the last 2 years he has tried getting other jobs, but some people have recognized him and felt unsafe because, shocker, child predators are a danger in society. So he did lose his job, his other couple of jobs he's had over the last couple of years, but that doesn't mean you just quit and then just go back to the internet to try and monetize there for your career. You cannot come back from what you did online, period. So you should have just kept trying to find a job that you can hold down where people aren't going to recognize and harass you, and just stay pursuing that. He also does mention that the reason he's making the apology is because he wants to eventually have redemption online, which I think what he's done is irredeemable. I really do. I feel like most people probably do as well. It's an unforgivable act, but he keeps trying. And I don't even think this apology is genuine. This feels once again like another plan of his to try and crawl back online, because he has done it so many times before. This is not really taking accountability or responsibility. He keeps saying that it is, but he can't even address the actual issue itself. And like, not only the cupcake incident, he doesn't even mention the other victims outside of that either. So he doesn't actually even take any accountability or anything like that. So I don't even think it's coming from a place of like genuine remorse or anything. It really seems like it's coming from a place of desperation to find a career again online. So yeah, that's about.
I'm May Gomez, and I'm gonna be telling you what goes on behind my most viral TikToks.
Allegation. This situation is absolutely insane, with accusations flying from both sides.
I wanted to share what I went through.
All I can say
General
is that
Shark.
I was in love with him.
These are the facts, and I'm a witness.
And why is all of your evidence posted and quickly deleted? His friends are painting him as the victim, and he is the victim, but not of me.
Ooh, a bombshell. Damn, the editing here is super intense. I feel like I'm about to watch an episode of Euphoria.
I'm young, and obviously I will not always get it right the first time.
Who doesn't love a good YouTube apology?
I love YouTube apologies.
Sorry for anyone that's been hurt.
Continuous lapse in my judgment.
It's hard to overlook the irony of David Dobrik turning off comments on a video titled Let's Talk. While some apologies may lead to an accidental admission of guilt, others don't even contain the word sorry at all. Some are scripted, while others are very much not.
You're high. You're snorting a line of off a bad my. You know what I mean?
I actually never saw his apology video. I didn't know he had one.
Online, you get used to a pretty wide range of public statements, varying from sincere and tactful to, oh my god, what are the words coming out of your mouth right now?
Actually, that just reminded me. Jenna Marbles,
hey guys,
she made an apology video and then quit YouTube, or said she was. Did she actually do that? It's been like 2 years now. I guess so. Damn, she said, alright, I'm out then. Issues new apology to staff as producers are fired. Oh, she also just quit her show, right? So that's pretty fucking awesome, I guess.
I stay grateful and I try to stay humble, and I think that I pay attention to what is important and what is real.
In recent months, her character has been called into question.
Yeah, none of us like Ellen, I get it. Where's her apology?
I don't say nothing to them, really. Reasons. We'll focus on level producer.
Ninja made you, Ellen. Don't forget it.
I gotta keep moving forward and learning and growing. You know, some people don't teach you about how to live this lifestyle or how to be here in this position, but I'm learning and I'm growing.
It doesn't exactly take a PhD in psychological studies to gauge who's actually sorry and who's only sorry they got caught. Accused of a literal crime probably won't have the best of luck defending themselves holding a tangible, actual script in front of them.
To be fair, it's less of a script and more of like a summer reading essay.
Not even the worst interpretive dance I've ever seen. As a response to one of the biggest TikTok controversies in recent
This is how you do apologies.
Join me in documenting the timeline of disastrous PR choices of one of TikTok's once most promising entertainers.
You haven't had first kiss yet?
The vlog says something else.
What weird questions to ask. Jesus Christ. Ugh.
Not unlike YouTube and Twitch,
Oh my God.
TikTok.
How is the paparazzi like a real profession that still exists in the current century? Jesus Christ. That shit is so weird. So genuinely weird. And it's so outdated now too, considering like all of these social media people and celebrities posted like all of their shit themselves. Like their most embarrassing moments are moments that they are capturing and posting themselves. So the paparazzi are getting paid for actual nothingness, just to take pictures of them holding coffee cups.
Are you guys dating?
They would very openly show PDA, but never outright clarified whether they were dating. So with this PR win, I have to assume Sienna must have felt a new air of confidence. After all, it was around this time that Netflix was filming for a Hype House documentary. Chaos surrounding the
hold on, I'm curious. How many TikToker shows does Netflix have? Let me see, I'm curious. Let's see. They have to have like 5 or 6, right? So the Hype House documentary, they have the Hype House competition show on Netflix. Or I guess it's not the Hype House per se, but something like it. Okay, can someone just tell me? I don't even know what I'd search for. There's only like 2? No, that can't be right. They had the Addison Rae one, they had this Hype House one, they had that competition one where a bunch of TikTokers got into a house to fight for like Big Brother style. They had they had another documentary on somebody, and I'm blanking on their name. I think they've been doing like a big investment in TikToker-focused media for the built-in audience. The D'Amelio Family's on Hulu. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe it's all over the place.
On the 31st, Mason Rizzo, a friend of Jack's since kindergarten, published the following statement to Twitter, reading, "I struggle with seeing a girl praised after telling my best friend to kill himself and assaulting him numerous times after he set boundaries and then repeatedly wonder why he doesn't like you back. She also has a history of verbally abusing people.
She's young. Come on.
She prioritizes the growth of her platform rather than the positive message she represents herself as.
Whatever evidence you think you have, either post it or send it to me and I'll post it because you have nothing."
That's so bold. That's so fucking bold.
On June 3rd of 2021, this short video taken in November was posted by another friend of Jack's, seemingly depicting Sienna straddling an unconscious Jack Wright, groping him and kissing him on the lips while looking passed out. The guy next to him who posted the video got up after feeling uncomfortable, but went back to pull Sienna off once he realized what was happening, posting this alongside the clip in an effort to further support the claim that Jack was in fact asleep, or at the very least incapable of consent during that time. Being definitive proof of assault in the eyes of some, this video remains a heavy point of contention today. Sienna has since made the claim many times over that he was not unconscious and completely consenting as it happened.
It does seem like he was.
Another statement not long
That's
after.
usually what I look like
Jack
when I'm
himself
consenting.
Would go on to dispute.
The Hawaii incident happened where, honestly, I'm glad that they have evidence.
After
Sienna found out about the video, she said sorry. She said if this got out, she would be done. That is horrible, and she's working
on the Bill Cosby classic.
Jack was a victim of sexual assault, but not by me. And I am a victim of continual
I bet if they had an earlier video there was
and
pudding.
slander my name with false claims. It will not work. I'm here to clear things up and provide all sides of the story because I have been labeled as a sexual assaulter.
Right out of the gate, Sienna's demeanor is stronger and more aggressive than before. She comes off less concerned for her friend who she just previously said was sexually abused, and more frustrated with how the situation has affected her.
Any video you go watch of us, please, and I encourage you to go watch my recent YouTube videos featuring Jack, our recent TikTok.
This is so uncomfortable,
you will
holy
see
shit.
that this behavior
Jesus Christ.
was normal. Online, we touched each other, kissed each other, we were playful. Jack kissed me and I kissed him. Within the boundaries of our relationship, this was normal.
Definitely not doing much to sway people in her favor. But let's look.
I would usually go over when he's unconscious and yank on his winky.
So I went back and took
it was part of our friendship.
Not to mention when I got closer, I noticed her right hand inappropriately touching his crotch. She was shocked that
I would play with his nutsack when he was having nightmares in order to ease his mind.
Next day about the situation that happened at night.
And then I'd spit on his face.
That happens all the time.
And also, why was he kissing me back?
She asserts that he was fully awake and kissing her back, pointing to the way Jack's arm moves when his friend gets up from the couch. Now, maybe Sienna isn't sure how gravity works, but I think it's pretty clear to me, at least, which I have to say so I don't get sued, that his arm only moved because the guy stood up.
No, it's like Weekend at Bernie's. He doesn't
fine. Beyond that.
He's fucking fine.
There's not a whole lot to go on.
He's consenting.
Sienna is eager to point out for herself.
You claim in your video that you hear
He said yes, so she could finger his butthole.
why did you record it? James, you are Jack's twin brother. And I know that if my brother saw me being taken advantage of, he would pick up the person on top of me and beat them.
That's a
not
classic awful
defense. I mean, that would be a horrible look. They're trying to incriminate you, not themselves. To me, Jack's twin James took this video for his brother's own good. She then goes on to rapid fire a bunch of points that, again, really don't matter as far as what she's being accused of.
This was also in November, when we had first just started to kind of ease our way into relationship, not relationship, defined, and you were introducing me as your girl. Having your friends take a 10-second clip out of context of this entire night is not sexual assault.
She's confused why it's even an issue at all, since James and Jack had never brought it up to her privately. This would not age the finest either. In the wake of Jack's formal
She's better than Amber Heard's lawyer, though.
YouTube channel about half a year later. Sienna issued cease and desist letters regardless, and went on to take a month-long break from social media. The situation died down once again, at least before Sienna made her long-awaited and critically acclaimed.
She comes back and posts this absolutely
Let's fucking go.
Video.
An interpretive dance video for essay.
It's so good. This is how you should apologize.
Take a whole month off social media, but now I'm back. Hit him with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dance.
Hey!
What is this?
Let's go.
How deaf and stupid do you have to be?
But through struggle, I found clarity within myself.
God, apology videos are always amazing, but this one I still think is one of the best.
I don't have anything to add. This is literally the worst response to any controversy I have ever seen.
So good.
Somehow, Sienna May's PR team figured that shooting a highly stylized interpretive dance to a song which contains the lyrics, "I did nothing wrong, I'm young," would be an appropriate response to SA allegations. God,
and it was.
Be a fly on a wall during that meeting. It's like getting up in the middle of your trial and doing the Squidward dance. I mean, if you go to Google Tone Deaf right now, a link to her video pops up. For God's sake, she starts off with a close-up shot of her push to start.
Even if I can only inspire one person, I will have done what I was put on this earth to do.
It's very Sia-esque.
Before launching into the worst dance moves a human being is capable of. Needless to say, this video convinced everyone she was...
Didn't Amber Turd just fire her whole PR team? Maybe there's a chance we see in trial her break out the interpretive dance like as a last-ditch Hail Mary. I don't want this to be the last one. It can't die here. I really think there's a lot of potential with the apology interpretive dances. So, fingers crossed. I really think we got a good chance there.
The Hawaii incident happened.
Jack can confirm that he was in fact passed out, unconscious, almost the whole
I can't
night,
believe
and
that. That looks like a fully conscious man to me.
Most vulnerable state. Two friends escorted her out of the party since she had also been causing additional problems that night, but resorted to jumping and rolling out of a moving vehicle to get back.
Oh, I forgot about that
He was
part.
hiding from Sienna in the house. According to him, her parents had to go.
That was like full-blown like Jason Statham stunts.
And I don't know, it was just like normal for me that I didn't think there was such like a problem at all. Like part of me wants to blame myself for being nice and sticking around after so many times. But now I realize that I was stuck in this like manipulative cycle of her acting like she extremely cared about me.
Yeah, she's like a fucking supervillain.
That night she would do stuff to
wanting
me, and it was
fuck
just
Jack.
so normal for me. I got used to it.
Painting a horrific picture of waking up in the middle of the night.
How does all this happen before you raise a red flag, though? You've clearly not been around a ton of people. People you think are a friend, you'll ignore a ton of flags for. Happens all the time, even if it's not romantic. I am holding in a pee-pee really badly, though, so I'm gonna go tinkle real quick, and I'll be right back.
On February 23rd, 2022, Sienna May returned to the public eye with an appearance on the BFFs podcast hosted by Dave Portnoy, the CEO of Barstool Sports, who you may remember as a proud investor of the infamous crypto coin SafeMoon, which turned out to be a worthless pyramid scheme.
Hey, SafeMooners!
To fire and sue his employees on the spot for wanting to unionize. Or you may know his abundant legal history. Whatever the case may be, Dave Portnoy, alongside his co-hosts who are half his age, brought Sienna back on the program after having her on just a year prior.
Right. I actually saw Dave Portnoy in real world once when we went to that god-awful fucking Logan Paul Floyd Mayweather fight. Dave Portnoy was there. and he was leaving the stadium, and one person asked for a picture with him, so he turned around and asked if anyone else wanted a picture with him, and nobody said anything. That's the only experience I've had with Dave Portnoy. It was fucking awesome. Yeah, I like his pizza reviews, though. I don't know too much about the guy, but that situation was pretty awesome. Shit was great.
I want to talk about my emotional state, and like I feel like what I want to touch on is like how I'm doing and like the emotional questions that I know you guys are gonna ask. But as for like the legal and like the so what's going on questions, that's for them to answer, because like I don't want to. I'm trying to. I don't want to butcher anything. This is all like now it's serious, you know, like. Social media.
What a blunder.
Okay, yeah. So
why would you go to an interview on something like this and bring lawyers? That just makes it look significantly worse. Hey, Charlie, you did something bad. Do you want to talk about it? Yeah. And I'm bringing an entire legal team, too. Okay.
You guys and whoever's going to see this now, that there's nothing being done. Like, I just
Why does that...
kind of like...
What?
All right, I'm gonna let my team like just talk about this one and kind of like.
She is the worst PR team of all
If that's the same
time.
team that told you to do the interpretive dance,
Holy shit.
I'm thinking you should probably be worried. When the two had never even gotten to the point of dating, he made it clear he did not want to be with her, and she still persisted, according to what's been claimed.
I like really, really loved him, and I was like, I'm gonna get married to this guy. Like, this is the one. Like, I was so stoked on him.
Man, that is such weird behavior. Bro, if this was a guy saying this, it would be much differently received. This is like actual incel shit. They were never even dating or anything. At all. Talking about like marriage and shit. This is the one. Exit Prime. Gizmo, Thebe, and Dermot. Yeah, that is like real stalkerish behavior right there.
Sienna likes to emphasize that the two had never had sex, as if this was ever something Jack claimed, and I'm surprised Sienna keeps harping on it, even with her lawyer sitting right next to her. She absolutely cannot, for some reason, answer Dave's question of, well, did you know he wasn't
into it, and you're still pursuing it?
Instead, all of her answers are keeping the best interests of Sienna in mind, and how
Wait, does she have two lawyers
all of
here?
her answers are...
Wait, is this one of the normal hosts on Portnoy's show? This doesn't seem like the company Dave Portnoy would keep. She brought two lawyers? What the fuck? Hey, can I get Saul Goodman over here and then, I don't know, someone else, please? I really need to make an impression.
Are keeping the best interests of Sienna.
Oh my god, you're right. Wait, they are in the same room, all of them.
And you're still pursuing it?
Instead, all of her answers are...
Yeah, you're right. It's the same plants. I knew she was here because she reached out and patted her on the shoulder or whatever, slapped her in the face, God only knows. But yeah, I didn't realize this guy's in the same place too, unless he has just been like deep faked in here.
The National Center for Audio and Video Forensics was retained to perform an analysis on a cell phone video posted to social media. I was asked if the video could be used as credible evidence of the accusations against Ms. Gomez. In short, no. The posted video is not credible evidence of these accusations. The video is not original. The video has been heavily altered. The video
based on what?
No context to the events.
Wait, how did...
The video is not credible.
Well, I think we need to clarify in these first two statements. This would be huge if you can prove the video has been heavily altered. You're telling me someone actually did CGI this shit in here? You're gonna need to, like, clarify here. That would blow this whole thing wide open. The video doesn't exist. Yeah. Point 5. The video is not real. In fact, nothing's real. What is solipsism?
Of the accusations against Ms. Gomez.
I feel like that was a bad CSI video. I mean, my instinct is people are going to be like, that's a guilty video. It felt like a bad movie.
Actually very funny. They shred this video in front of the guy who made it. But I have to say it's hard to deny the video is short and doesn't show the events leading up to and after what is taking place. She repeatedly chose to take advantage of Jack Wright when he was at his most vulnerable, keeping him at arm's length no matter where they went due to her bizarre, ignorant, and selfish infatuation with a boy who clearly didn't reciprocate feelings. I personally believe the latter. After everything Jack has said and personally testified against, it's hard for me to look at this video as anything other than the truth, even if saying that could get me crucified by Sienna's legal team. However,
I don't know, man. Her legal team doesn't seem that adept. This guy actually put together a fucking CSGO montage to prove why the video is bad without any evidence. He just said 4 points. It's not original. It's heavily altered. Like, with nothing else there. It's kind of worthless.
It doesn't matter how young and inexperienced Sienna was when she goes to such extreme lengths to keep Jack and her critics at bay, as to not damage the precious reputation she's built on a mountain of lies and sick dance moves.
God, their dance apology is so fucking good. I love it. I wish more people would do that. That was interesting. The person who edited that dance was my hero. Oh, you talking about like the Banjo-Kazooie sound effects? Yeah, that was pretty cool. Do you think clout prolongs relationship? Oh, do you think clout prolonged their relationship? I mean, yeah, it was a business. They were both profiting off pretending to be together or whatever. Nothing is off limits. Even if someone is dead, that doesn't exclude them from being part of an epic YouTube video. That body will be filmed and paraded around for some views online. No price is too high for YouTubers to pay if it means views on their channel. You remember Daddy05, the channel where it was a family abusing their kids for views? Well, that's not exactly uncommon, I would say. There's a lot of really bad family content on the platform. Not all of it's bad. There is some like genuinely wholesome families. But one thing that I've always took issue with some of these channels is it feels like they use their kids as a prop for their own narcissism and just using their kids for views. I sometimes just get the impression the parents don't even view their kids as human beings, just these little piggy banks that are like a vessel for them to make money off of. And today we took a disturbing look behind the scenes of one of these family channels where the creator accidentally uploaded an unedited version of a video that she made. It was about heartbreak in the family, and in it, she was using her son's crying as part of her thumbnail, trying to direct him while he was really having a very rough time. It's pretty fucking hard to look at, so just a fair warning there. And I have to say, it seems awful to be part of one of these families that records everything, even like the saddest moments of your life, and tries to use it for views. Like, imagine you're crying, and your mom's like, okay, keep up that energy, keep crying, I'm gonna get the iPhone real quick. Okay, now say, I'm sad, super sad, but make sure to subscribe because it'll make me happy. You know, like that's a fucking nightmare. I'd rather be part of the Manson family than a family vlog channel. Like, it just seems horrible. Some of these families record even the saddest moments of your life because to them, that's money in the bank. And I think that shit's awful. I also think it's awful that some of you out there haven't subscribed to the Huge Charles channel. I'll make sure to put a link in the description below so you can check that out. That's some good old wholesome family fun.
Can't wait for her to bring her home and be part of our family. Put your head right here. Almost pray for us. We appreciate it. I love you guys. Bye. Come here. Come closer for the video. Come closer. Come closer. Come closer. Put your head right here. Come closer. Closer. Down. Put your head down here. Act like you're crying. Really quick. I am crying. Go like this. No, Mom, I'm actually seriously crying. No, I know, but go like this for the video.
Imagine being this devoid of basic emotions, where you've completely thrown away humanity in the pursuit of your internet fame. Obviously, the kid is really crying. He even says, like, no, Mom, look, I'm actually crying. But she's like, oh, no, that's good. Yeah, no, keep pretending. Like, she can't even wrap her head around the idea that her kid might actually be emotional. And instead of turning off the camera to help her son, she's trying to use that to make a thumbnail.
Go like this. Put one hand up. Go like this. No, go like this. Put your hand like this. But let them see your mouth. Let them see your mouth. Oh, Mom, I'm actually crying. Look at me. 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 I'm actually crying. I know. Look at me. Look at me. Look at the camera. Look at the camera.
Exquisite work, masterful directing here. She really captured the misery and trauma wonderfully in the thumbnail. No doubt, easy million views there. Do you think for the next one, perhaps, we can go to a funeral and line up the grieving family around the open casket, maybe stand the body up a little bit, and then they all just look really sad, maybe looking down a bit? I think she's got a great career here in Hollywood, no doubt. Very impressive work, for sure. Some people, I swear to God, would dig up the grave of their grandfather, get his corpse out, and fucking pour slime down his throat for like a slime challenge if it meant extra views on their channel. Like, there is nothing sacred They will do anything for fucking views. Here she saw an opportunity like, oh, starts rubbing her hands together like a cartoon villain. How can I make the most amount of views off of this horrible situation? I know. Let's make sure that the audience can see my son is crying, and then I'll cry. But listen here, Junior, if we don't get more tears out of this, we're gonna fucking starve. Do you want that on your conscience? Then you'll have something to really cry about, because you'll be going hungry if this thumbnail isn't fucking sad enough. So you're gonna have to fucking cry more, now! And then look at the camera, please. Okay, now come here. Okay, good. Alright, excellent. Obviously, she was made aware of her whoops-a-daisy here, the little chess blunder, pretty quickly. I think she deleted the video within 30 minutes. She then reposted it and then just took down the video altogether and addressed it as quickly as possible with this video where she talks about how disappointed she is in herself. I'll play a short clip from that.
We're very upset. We've been crying all day. It has been extremely scary. They don't know if she's gonna make it. Honestly, completely worn out, emotional, crying the whole day. I had Christian on my shoulder and I was like, here, come pose for the thumbnail with me after the video was done. And that was so disgusting of me. I should not have done that at all. We were both already so sad and upset and in such a vulnerable state today.
So the situation was their new puppy contracted parvo before they got the dog, so the dog wasn't doing super well, so the whole family was upset and she was emotional all day, and then she talks about how gross it was that she did this in the first place and left it in the video, and how disgusting the behavior was. It's not like there's anything she could have said to make the situation better or a way to justify that behavior. And she doesn't try to. I mean, like, how are you going to fucking spin that where you're like the hero? Like, no, you see, the reason I was trying to direct my kids crying for a thumbnail is actually because terrorists were holding the dog hostage and they demanded at least 1 million views on this video. So I had to do everything in my power to make it happen in order to save the dog's life. You know, like, there's nothing she could have done to justify anything in the video. All she could really say is that it was gross, it was stupid, and she's sorry. That is really all she could do in the situation. One thing that I would also like to mention is the fact that she keeps saying how emotional she was and that she was like really crying all day and just super emotional overall. I don't necessarily get that perspective from the short clip I watched, because it seems like she wasn't crying and it seems like she hadn't been crying. It looks like she hasn't cried since Jersey Shore got canceled. So I don't know if she necessarily was that bothered by it, or if like the entire day she had planned on making a video about the situation, so she went into like YouTuber mode where she wasn't allowing herself to be emotional on camera. I don't really know. But overall, there's just not a whole lot she could say or do here to make anything that much better. So she's just upfront saying everyone was right, this was gross, this was stupid, and I'm sorry. She doesn't try and like spin this in any way like, no, you guys are wrong, this didn't happen that way. She's just upfront like, yeah, this is fucking gross and disgusting. So, I mean, that's good at least that she admits that. But one thing that left a sour taste in my butthole, though, is that in the apology video, she also brings up the harassing DMs and shit that she's gotten. Now, of course, I never encourage harassment. This is also why I'm not putting her name anywhere in this video. I hate when people go out of their way to harass someone or send death threats or any fucking degenerate garbage like that. She's absolutely right to call those kind of things out. But why do it in the apology video? It kind of makes it feel like, okay, I fucked up, but you should also feel bad for me because as a result of this, I'm getting this kind of horrible stuff. So I just don't think this was the right time to talk about that. The focus of the video should have stayed on you owning up to the mistake. That it shouldn't have shifted to like, but I'm also a victim. I just don't think that was the right call there. In a comment, she also mentions that she'll no longer feature her son on her channel, because I'm assuming, the comments are turned off here, I'm assuming a lot of people had the same impression I did, where they felt that she was using her kid for views. And it's hard to really argue that when you have this footage here, where she is quite literally using her son for a more attention-grabbing thumbnail by trying to manipulate his misery for the audience. So I think that's also a good call to steer away from featuring your kids like that, especially if they might not want to. Like, it doesn't seem like the kid really wants to be in the thumbnail when he is crying, and he has to keep reiterating the point like, no, Mom, look, I'm actually crying. And then she still keeps trying to direct him. So I think her also saying that her son will no longer be used on her channel like that is a good thing. Overall, it's a fucking terrible situation, and it's hard to really take her at her word that this is like a one-time thing. Like, because now that you've seen behind the curtain here, now that you've seen how the sausage is made, as the expression goes, it's hard to really be like, oh, okay, I'll take her at her word that this has never happened before, where she's not, you know, using her kids or using horrible situations for the sake of views. The whole perspective is a bit baffling to me, where you'd have like this awful situation with the puppy and a family vlog channel's like, that's a good video. a crying video. And it's not the only channel to do that. I remember there was another channel only like a week or two ago. I'm not going to show anything from this at all, but it was a family vlog channel. They were going on this fucking multi-million-dollar vacation or some shit, but they arrived to the airport too late, so they were about to miss their flight. And the dad brings out the fucking camera and he films his children really sad, his wife really sad, and him being aggressive towards the employees that are telling them, like, look, it is literally too late. You have arrived too late to get on this flight. And he makes this whole video just being rude to them and filming his family being sad. Like, what the fuck do you... that entitlement is wild. Like, what the fuck do you want them to do? Ground the plane? Like, no, the pilot's not allowed to take off. Fuck it, this family channel has 1 million subs. We have to allow them on and give them first class. Kick everyone else off the plane. Like, I don't know what they were expecting. They arrived too late. And B, what blows me away is that the dad would even think, like, this is a video. My family is really upset, and I'm going to be rude to these people. That is a video for the family channel, baby. Bang. Like, I just don't get it. And it's the same thing in this situation. Like, this puppy is in rough shape, and we're all very upset about it. That's a banger video. Let's all start crying on camera. I don't get it. It's astonishing. It really is. I don't really have words to describe it because I just don't understand why anyone would think that's a good idea. This situation was a really fucking gross one. Hopefully this really is the only time she's used her kid like this. Hopefully there's not anything awful going on behind the scenes like this. So yeah, that's Rewind this year. I imagine the bulk of the content would be apology videos. There have been more apology videos in 2023 than there have been apologies throughout the last 100 years of our species combined. And just like my age, that number only keeps going up. It's crazy just how common of an occurrence this is. And today we're going to look at a pretty rare one. This is the shiny Pokemon of apology videos. This one's not from a YouTuber or an internet content creator. It comes from two celebrities that I know all of you have seen before. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
So what are they saying I'm sorry for? What whoops-a-daisy blunder did they make? And I'm sorry to say this, sports fans, because it's not some kind of silly mistake. It's not like they gave like a hot take on anime and got dogpiled on Twitter for it or anything. What they did is actually pretty deplorable. They, as well as many others, were requested to write letters to a judge in regards to the Danny Masterson rape case. I actually didn't even know this was going on. I only just learned about this. Danny Masterson of That 70s Show fame, a show that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis were a part of for a very long time, has just been sentenced to 30 years to life in prison for 2 out of the 3 counts of rape that he was facing. Danny Masterson was arrested in 2020, and this trial's actually had a lot of developments to it that I was just completely unaware of, but it's concluded now for the most part, and he was found guilty for 2 out of the 3 counts of rape that he was facing. And then it came out that Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, and about 50 other people wrote letters to the judge of the sexual assault trial to just say nice things about Danny Masterson. I guess the idea was to try and hype him up as like, look at all these positive experiences we had with Danny Masterson. Inside Danny, there are 2 demons, a rapist and an incredible actor with a bright smile that could light up a room. And it's important that we don't overlook that second one. Let's focus on all these great experiences we had with Danny Masterson that we knew. You know, Mr. Hyde was a bad guy, but Dr. Jekyll, he was great. So, like, I guess the idea here was to try and get the judge to be a little bit more lenient or something, like to try and help Danny's case by just saying nice things about the Danny they knew. So an excerpt from Ashton Kutcher's letter says, Danny takes his job seriously. He is kind, courteous, and hardworking. He treated everyone from the grips to the teamsters to the actors to the caterers as equals. As a role model, Danny has consistently been an excellent one. A great role model to rapists, maybe. What the fuck is this? This is just an absolutely evil thing to say about somebody like this. What? How delusional can you be? He took his job seriously. He even said good work to one of the caterers. I'd never seen such a saint on the That 70s Show set. To look at a caterer and actually engage in small talk blew my mind. I'd never seen anyone so sweet. He was truly a benevolent angel. A great role model if you just ignore all of the rape stuff. Like, holy shit. What in the world? What in tarnation? And Mila Kunis called him an amazing friend, confidant, and above all, an outstanding older brother figure. His genuine concern for those around him and his commitment to leading by example make him an outstanding role model and friend. Yucky. Yucky. An older brother figure, and still, she's echoing the same thing, a great role model. He just got convicted of rape, and it's not like this is a case with like a lot of holes in it, and it was like some kind of fishy investigation or something. Like this is a pretty cut and dry case. The only reason it took 3 years is because there is a lot of interesting stuff that may or may not have been going on with Scientology being involved. I don't like to even mention that word because that's a very scary thing to even bring up. Mentioning Scientology is like mentioning Voldemort in the real world. But perhaps there were, a few Tom Riddle diary exchanges that led to some shady shit going on throughout this case, at least from what I've read so far. This isn't something where you would see all of the evidence, see the verdict, and start wiggling your finger like, no, justice wasn't served here. Unless, of course, you're part of Danny Masterson's team, who's saying that they got it wrong and they plan to do everything they can to overturn it and all that shit. But, like, as someone who was a friend of him, you should see this and be like, oh, this is fucking revolting. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. I was friends with an absolute monster. And then you would not go up to bat for them. Like, you wouldn't start speaking to the great character of Danny Masterson. It's just incomprehensible to me. I couldn't imagine doing that. If my best friend in the world, someone I grew up with, someone I consider a brother, was just arrested and convicted of rape, I would not be singing his praises. I wouldn't be spreading the gospel about what an amazing guy he is, right? I wouldn't write a letter to the judge, even if I was requested to do so by his family, and say something like, listen, I dislike sexual assault as much as the next guy. That's some bad stuff. Rape, boo, don't like it. But he never raped me. So he's not all bad. And also, we used to butt chug brewskis in the bathtub together at the frat house. Like, this is a good guy. And it's just something to consider, maybe, when you're looking over this and deciding on sentencing. Like, I would not be trying to say anything positive about the person. So obviously this made a lot of people upset to see them do that. It's craziness. So I'll finally get to the apology video now, but I feel like we needed all of this in order to understand why they're apologizing, what exactly they're apologizing for.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
But you also support your friend, even after all of the rape evidence was being put on trial. Like this, I'm very curious now how much they knew about him. Like, did they know all of this? Because they don't seem necessarily surprised, and they seemed more than willing to write these glowing letters that seem like fucking 5-star Yelp reviews of this guy. Like, even with all of this evidence of the sexual abuse, they're still calling him an outstanding role model, an older brother figure. Like, holy shit. I understand they've been friends for 2 decades, so I guess when Danny Masterson's family reached out to request that they write a letter, gushing grannies over how cool Danny Masterson is, they should have said no. They should have just hard rejected that on the spot. Of course, I'm not a lawyer, I haven't passed the bar, but I don't think this is some kind of obligation they had to fulfill here because there were other people that didn't write letters about Danny Masterson. But let's assume they were forced to. You can still say, I was one of Danny Masterson's best friends. I didn't know this side of him. I didn't know he was an evil person, so I don't feel comfortable saying anything nice about my experience with him. Full stop. Like, that could just be the end of it.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us, and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years, so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
How rotted and corrupt is the brain of a Hollywood drone? Like a Hollywood fucking clout zombie. I can't even begin to try and process how their noodles work. How can you just say that so nonchalant like it's not a big deal and not just fucking diabolical? They knowingly wrote these character letters to give the judge a full understanding of the situation to consider when giving his sentencing to Danny Masterson. So they knew that this was going to be used to try and get lighter sentencing for a man who committed heinous crimes. How do you sleep at night like that? Like after doing that? I don't get it. Like, a lot of people wrote letters, of course, it's not just these two, but these two are the most public figures about it. But I imagine they called anyone that ever even crossed Danny Masterson's path, like, "Hey, it's me, Tim Clifford. I was Danny Masterson's 3rd grade math buddy. We played together on the kickball squad and he was a superstar. One of the finest kickball players the East Coast had ever seen. Thanks for reading." And the judge would be there scratching his chin. I didn't consider that he might have been very good at kickball. Maybe we shouldn't be so harsh on him. Like, I understand it's not just these two. Like, everyone wrote these letters, and I guess they all understood that it was supposed to help Danny Masterson maybe get a lighter sentence. I just don't know how you can do that. Like, in good conscience, it makes no sense to me. You shouldn't want a convicted rapist to get a lighter sentence for the crimes.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read, and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that.
Hey guys, we were just being super evil behind closed doors, and it's a real shame you guys had to see this side of us. We were hoping you weren't going to notice. This was really meant for the judge's eyes only. We don't want to re-traumatize victims. We just want to make sure the person that victimized them gets the lightest sentence possible for the crimes. And I like how they immediately go into an argument no one's making, like, our letters weren't meant to undermine the legitimacy of the claims. I don't think anyone's claiming they were. Your letters are there to serve as a way of trying to help your friend get a less long, less severe sentence for some absolutely evil shit they did. Which is very bad. It's still horrible.
And we're sorry if that has taken place.
Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, or rape.
Man, unfortunately, they didn't even do the apology video classic cliche of saying thank you before signing off. You didn't even thank us for watching the apology video? Are you serious? Do you have no manners at all? But yeah, you care so much about the victims of these horrible things, and yet for some reason, a person who was actively engaging in these crimes, you decided to write really nice things about to try and help them. That's really weird. It's hard to believe you now, after all of this. It's just a fucked up situation. Danny Masterson is getting justice, which is the most important thing. But how the fuck could so many people around him willingly just write nice letters about him to try and actively help him in this case? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, that's really